Classroom of the Elite Season 3 Episode 13. And wow, what a great episode this was. This is definitely an episode I give a 10 out of 10. And as always, Classroom of the Elite always delivers in the last episode. It has been the same since the first season, and I have to say that this episode didn't disappoint. Of course, me saying that I give it a 10 out of 10 says it all, because yeah, that means that it was a perfect episode for me. I don't know exactly what you all thought of it, but I will probably say that you also, have it in very high regards, because I mean, yeah, this episode had it all. And I have to say that I will start with the last part first. I know I'm skipping a lot of parts, but I will talk about that in the end. But yeah, the last part, I have to say that I was definitely not expecting that to happen. Not at all. I didn't even have it in my mind. I mean, I knew that Karuizawa and Ayanokouji were close. I mean, Ayanokouji did trust her to a certain extent, so of course I knew that he has some sort of, I guess you can say, yeah, I mean, trust in her. Normally a friend to Ayanokouji at least wouldn't be as close as, Karuizawa was to Ayanokouji. So yeah, I knew that Karuizawa was not your typical normal friend, but I didn't think that much of it, because after all, this is Ayanokouji. We know that he's the type of person that only uses people, and even to a certain extent after this episode you can say that he's still doing that. But after seeing some stuff in this episode, I mean, I would say that that is not necessarily the case, at least not 100%, because he even in this episode mentioned that he thinks or he wants to be smiling at the end of the episode, even though he wasn't smiling, which tells me a lot of things. But first of all, we saw that he actually confessed to Karuizawa, which this was the biggest surprise of them all. I mean, I definitely wasn't expecting that. Like I said at the beginning, I thought this episode was going to go in a different direction. To be honest, I don't know what direction, but definitely not that. I wasn't expecting that. But now that it has happened, I mean, I have to say that they actually managed to pull it off very well. I saw it in very good eyes. I mean, it was, I guess you can say, planned since the beginning, because we saw that at the beginning he was using the girl called, what was it, China or something like that, the girl that also likes books. Yeah, he was only using her because he wanted to make, Karuizawa jealous. And yeah, at the end of the episode we see him explain that to Karuizawa, and Karuizawa was being all jealous, and after that we get the big surprise, which is that Ayanokouji confesses to Karuizawa. And Karuizawa was actually taken aback, because also she was definitely not expecting that. She never thought that Ayanokouji was the type of person that he actually liked other people, but as we all saw in this episode, he actually does, or at least that is the impression the episode gives us. In the episode, it is explained to us by Ayanokouji himself that he's only doing this because he's trying to learn things that he didn't learn in the White Room. For example, one of them is being loved. He's trying to figure what love is all about, and because of that we see that he's doing all of this because he wants to learn about that, about love. But then after that he also says that he's also doing it because he actually thinks that Karuizawa is actually important to him, because yeah, he did say that outright. He wasn't being ambiguous or anything like that. So yeah, to me as an only anime watcher, I do think that that tells me that he does actually think of Karuizawa being something more than just a tool. Of course, that is not to say that he's in a way also not using her, because he is. He even says it in this episode. But I would say that at this point in time it is more of a mixed bag. I think that yeah, he's using her, but also he does actually care for her, and maybe he does actually like her. At this point in time I'm more inclined to think that. I don't know if I'm being delusional, but yeah, I do think that he definitely has some feeling for her. Again, I could be delusional, but maybe that is the case. So other thing that we saw in this episode was that the principal said that in the next term there's actually going to be another person that came out of the White Room, and he said that this person is actually also a big, I guess you can say, triumph that came out of the White Room, aside from Ayanokouji himself. So yeah, in the next term there's actually going to be definitely a big challenge for Ayanokouji, because now he's going to have to face someone from the White Room itself. Now there's actually going to be someone that may actually be a big challenge for him. I mean, Ayanokouji is not scared, of course. The other kind of funny thing that we saw in this episode was that Horikita telling Ayanokouji that she was actually challenging him to a match, and it was actually kind of funny because Horikita thinks that she can actually beat Ayanokouji. I don't know what her plan is, but yeah, that was actually kind of funny. And she says that if Ayanokouji loses, then he has to basically tell the class that he's actually very smart, but if Horikita loses, then she has to join the student council. So almost assuredly now Horikita will join the student council, unless for some reason Ayanokouji loses on purpose. I don't know what would be the reason for that, but I guess there's always a possibility of that. So yeah, there was also another girl that in this episode figured out that actually Ayanokouji is smarter than he gives off. That girl, I don't remember her name, but I don't know if there's actually going to be more happening with her, or if if that was a one thing. But yeah, that was a pretty curious scene to say the least. There was also the whole thing with Ryuen and also with Ichinose. And you know, actually, Ayanokouji said in this episode that if someone broke, you know, Ichinose, that he was going to be the one to finish her off. So that was really very scary. I guess that was the episode telling us to remember that this is Ayanokouji, that he is still that dark person that we all know he is, that we shouldn't forget that. I don't know if that was actually true, that thing that Ayanokouji said, or if it was just, you know, Ayanokouji trying to be dramatic. But I mean, I do believe him, to be honest. I guess the question that I have now is if Ayanokouji is going to allow this relationship to be public, or if he's going to hide it. So what did I think about the season? Well, of course, it was actually very, 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 very good. There aren't enough synonyms to describe how good this anime has been. But yeah, that was my review of the third season. I hope you all enjoyed it. And yeah, that was everything by me.